Welcome to my presentation.
Hi, I'm Melrose M. de los Reyes.
We are now in the Chapter 5, the Data Collection Techniques. This chapter will deal with 3 frequently used data collection techniques: the questionnaire, the interview, and the observation. The questionnaire is a research instrument consisting of a series of questions for the purpose of gathering information from respondents. The following are the process of pre-questionnaire planning. Define the purpose. Consider previous, related research, the advice of experts, and so on. Hypothesize a solution to the problem. Identify the information needed to test the hypothesis. Identify the potential respondents or subjects. Select the best and most appropriate technique for collecting the necessary data. A researcher may elect to use 2 or more techniques and methods to test hypotheses and/or measure variables. This process, often referred to as triangulation. Burgess believed that triangulation implies the notion of 3 points of view within a triangle. Therefore, Gorman and Clayton suggest using the term mixed methods to allow the researcher to use a range of methods, data, investigators, and theories within any study. The list below are the pros and cons of the questionnaire.
Constructing the questionnaire. How to do it. Is it important?
Proper construction of the questionnaire is essential to its success. The following are the types of question according to information needed: factual questions, opinion and attitude questions, information questions, self-perception questions, standards of action questions, questions about actual past or present behavior, and projective questions. Open-ended or unstructured questions, designed to permit free responses from participants rather than ones limited to specific alternatives. Useful for exploratory studies. They are called for when the issue is complex, when the dimensions are not known, when the interest of the researcher lies in exploration of a process. Example of open-ended or structured questions: fixed response or structured questions, also known as closed questions, limit the responses of the participant to stated alternatives. The possible responses may range from a simple yes or no, to a checklist of possible replies, to a scale indicating various degrees of a particular response. Example: structured questions come in a variety of specific formats, including the following. Scaled responses is a variety of utilized scales of one type or another in order to obtain responses. One kind of scale is the rating scale. Specific rating scales, with examples, are the following. Multiple item scales is even more than rating scales. It can help to reduce the complexity of data, more potential for testing hypotheses, and are considered to have better validity and reliability. Categorized as differential, summated, and cumulative. Differential scale, also known as Thurston type scale, utilizes a series of statements or items with equidistance between them. Each item, therefore, receives a value point equidistant from those immediately preceding and following it. Summated scale consists of series of statements or items, but no effort is made to distribute them evenly along a continuum. Only items that are favorable or unfavorable to the attitude of interest are used. The Likert was the most commonly used summated scales. Sources of error. To the preparation of the first draft, the researcher must decide on the sequence of questions that best serves his or her purpose. The guidelines. Evaluating the questionnaire. Once the first draft of the questionnaire has been completed, and before it is actually pretested, it is a good idea to get one or more experts' opinion. A person who is expert in research methodology can help to catch methodological weaknesses in the instrument, such as faulty scales, inadequate instructions, and so on. The pretest is also referred to as pilot study. Having been pretested, the questionnaire is ready for final editing before distribution. Steps to keep the questionnaire length to minimum. The instruction must be clear and should be kept brief as possible. If the questionnaire is to be mailed, the original questionnaire can be typed in a small font. Long questionnaire can be printed on both sides of the sheets. And finally, the questionnaire should ask only for information not already held by the researcher. Unnecessary questions should be avoided. The self-administered questionnaire can be mailed or electronically transmitted via email or the web. The basic steps in developing a standardized or structured interview are not that different from those for developing most other kinds of survey studies. Pros and cons of interview. Focus group interview is designed to explore in depth the feelings and beliefs people hold, and to learn how these feelings shape overt behavior. They are called focus group because the discussions start out broadly and gradually narrow down to the focus of the research. The information acquired from focus interviews is generally used to help researchers understand perceptions and attitudes of the target population. There are two basic approaches to analyzing focus group data: the ethnographic summary and the content analysis. The content analysis approach produces numerical descriptions of the data. It is the tallying of mentions of every specific factors. While the ethnographic summary involves establishing rapport, selecting research participants, transcribing observations and conversations, and keeping diaries. Telephone interview is a data collection method when interviewer communicates with the respondent on the telephone in accordance with the prepared questionnaire. Observation means to watch attentively in a scientific or systematic manner. In an observational study, the current status of a phenomenon is determined not by asking, but by observing. Observation is sometimes treated as a research method, sometimes as a data collection technique to be utilized with the research method. As a data collection technique, it is used in both basic and applied research and in quantitative and qualitative studies. There are two basic types of observation: the structured and unstructured observations. The unstructured observation is sometimes equated with participant observation, but its most important characteristics reflects the fact that the researcher does not have predetermined sets of categories of behavior to use. Structured observation is a more formal technique, often used in quantitative studies in order to provide systematic description or to test causal hypotheses. This is where our lesson ends today. I hope you learned something from my presentation. Till next time, bye.